Hello and welcome to GG Weekend Watch, where we have a slightly different feel to this week's show because, of course, we are now without Daryl Carter. But Daryl, thank you so much for your lovely words on your send-off show last week, and best of luck in your new role. We know you're going to absolutely smash it, and we can't wait to see everything that the future holds for you. But we are going to miss you, though. But it is just Andrew Mount and I to guide you through this weekend's racing from Sandown and Haydock. So, Andrew, no pressure at all, but the glare is on you then for this week's show, and I'll try and chip in where I possibly can as well. But we will kick on with the action because we begin with Sandown's opener. This is the Group 3 Coral Charge for the 3-year-olds and over, the Flying 5 Furlongs. You guessed it, where it's a wide open race. Marshman heads away as the 11-2 favourite. Andrew, who are you siding with?
Yeah, very tricky, this one. Marshman, I'm a little concerned that there's a few too many short price defeats in his career. Tiber Flow was a winner at Newcastle last week. He's only ever won on the all-weather, though. He's nicely drawn in stall 2. 6 of the 12 last 12 winners of this race were drawn in stalls 1 or 2. I know we had a period at Sandown where you didn't seem to want to be on that far side row. I'm not sure exactly what they did. I think they broke up the ground and sort of loosened it up on the inside, and horses were winning out wide or down the middle. But we seem to have reverted to that far rail being favoured, certainly this season and the end of last season. So I'm looking at Lady Hamana in stall 1, who was a course and distance winner last time out. She fits some positive stats for this race. Fillies have done well. So in the last 12 runnings, 4 winners from 24 runners, a profit of £4. 3-year-olds are 7 from 42 plus £10 to a £1 level stake. The expected winners was sort of about half that. And horses who ran at Ascot last time out to do pretty poorly. You'd think the timing of this race would fit in with Royal Ascot, but it's only 2 from 51 in the last 12 years for horses who run at Ascot, minus £37. Whereas those who ran at Sandown last time, 4 from 16 and a profit of £4.50. So you combine the sort of the age stats, the filly stats, the draw stats, and the prep race stats, and you come up with Lady Hamana, a good winner in first-time cheap pieces in listed company last time, and 18-1 or thereabouts. I thought I'd chance her to small stakes.
Yeah, to small stakes then for Lady Hamana for the filly / mare angle. Then she's 18-1 then. Still one. And we were just discussing her beforehand. Don't be fooled as the Racing Post saying that she's age 2. That's because of her breeding, where she's classified from the Australian standpoint, which still sees her as a 2-year-old born on the 1st of August. But that's when the Southern Hemisphere horses gain an extra year. Well, that's when their birthdays are, similar to our horses on the 1st of January. She was actually born on the 10th of February 2020. So she isn't the 2-year-old as listed this race. Still for 3-year-olds and over. 18-1 then about Lady Hamana. Good way to play our opener. Now we move on to our first at Haydock. This is a 3-year-old handicap over a mile 6 at 2:05. 14 declared runners in here. Andrew, who wins it?
I'm going to sort of side with 2. One of them is Struth, just because I've learned how to pronounce them properly after I said
so you managed to hide away from doing the accent again there. I'm slightly disappointed. That's more like it. Thank you.
Yeah, so Struth caught the eye 2 runs back at Doncaster. We know that on the round course of Doncaster, it's very difficult to make the running. Run over the St Leger course and distance in the race won by St George, who of course ran an absolute blinder for Andrew Balding in the Queen's Vase at the Royal Meeting. Struth was second that day, best of those who raced up with the pace. And then next time out, has gone to Ascot and of course, raced prominently, raced keenly. We know, you look at that race, Desert Heroes race, you want it to be wide, you want it to be coming from off the pace, and so Struth was just wrong tactics, wrong part of the track, draw a line through that quite happily, like most of Charlie Johnson's runners at Royal Ascot. So I think Struth could possibly bounce back here. And the other one of interest at a shorter price is Pledge of Allegiance for Sir Mark Prescott, another one who caught the eye against the track pass at Doncaster last time. Again, the St Leger course and distance, this time in a lesser race, a class 4 handicap. Made the running, small field, but did hold off the 5-4 favourite who was ridden patiently Campaign Trail. And it's 2 from 2 in cheap pieces now since the headgear was fitted. And I just think he's most progressive, and he could be well ahead of his mark of 83, despite having got up £7 of that Doncaster win. So, yeah, split stakes, Pledge of Allegiance, and Struth.
Thank you very much. Thank you for just, for indulging me then in the accent, because I mean, he's so well named, isn't he, Struth, and being by Australia. So it was a given that he had to do it. But yeah, Pledge of Allegiance, though, if there's ever a blueprint for a Mark Prescott horse, that is your horse right there and then. And he's still available at 13-2 about him. Struth 14-1 though has just been clipped in a few points there this morning up at Haydock. Now we are back to Sandown for the Coral Challenge handicap for 3-year-olds and over a mile at 225. 15 declared runners for you to go at this time, Andrew. So where did your pin land?
Yeah, this is a very interesting race. So I looked at the last 12 runnings of this race. 11 of the 12 winners ran in a handicap last time. 10 of the 12 were geldings. 3-year-olds don't have a great record. 1 from 21 in the last 12 years, although only 2 of those were geldings, and 1 of those was second at 14-1. The other one was unplaced at 4 of 40-1. So perhaps don't read too much into that. Now, major partnership was on the radar, being an older handicapper trained by Said bin Saror. You can back all his 4-year-olds and olders in handicaps and make a profit. Indemnify was of interest, being a switcher who's gone from a different trainer to Alice Haynes. She does well the first time of asking with those. But she's got another one in this race, Maysong, who ran at Hamilton the other day, finishing 3rd. And you look at Maysong's course form, 3 runs here, 2 wins and a second at 16-1 when trained by Ed Dunlop. So I thought it was significant that Maysong, having raced in Scotland only 4 days ago, is back down south, and it's priced around 14-1, I think. And again, this race and generally at Sandown big field handicaps, I like to be drawn sort of middle to high and come wide round the outside, and let the front runners get into a battle toward that inside rail and set it up for a closer. So I think he's got the ideal running style. The other one, other than Maysong, who I've backed, is a big price one. It's Orbaan. For David O'Mara. Now, the downside of the O'Mara yard is that he's 1 from 49 in the past fortnight as we speak. He's had plenty of plays, but funnily enough, you look at those 49 runners, only 2 of them started as favourite. So a lot of them weren't exactly screaming to be backed. I think it's a yard who's going to be doing particularly well this summer. Whether it was a problem with oilseed rape, which was rumoured, that sort of caused problems with 1 or 2 of the horses, I'm not sure. But Orbaan is got a bit of the Mr. Wagyus about him, tends to do well in high summer. He's got a really good record in July and August. 3 wins from 14 starts, loads of placed efforts. And prior to the 1st of July, he's 0 from 13, and from September to the end of the year, he's 0 from 9. And when he's had a recent run in July or August, so he's 3 wins, a second and a 4th from 7 starts. He last raced 17 days ago at Ascot, when he was a big drifter out to 50-1 after attracting anti-post support. So from stall 13, hopefully we'll see in the next couple of days some of the O'Mara horses running a little bit better. But I'll have him as well as Maysong on my side.
Okay, 25-1 about Orbaan then, like I say, to hopefully turn the tide of the David O'Mara form. And 14-1 then about Maysong for, I was saying, Tommy Jakes taking the ride. I don't profess to know too much about the £7 claimer, Tommy Jakes, admittedly. But yeah, Alice Haynes looks to have a couple of interesting players in that race. I'm also keeping 2 on side, so I'm delighted that you've gone with 2, because I was sort of having to split my stakes in between these 2. But the one who's an easier case to make 4 is Silent Film, now in from 14-1 into 12-1 for Ian Williams, having just his 2nd start for Ian Williams as well. But he's been able to enlist William Buick, which I think is interesting, because obviously William Buick's going to know this horse really well, because he was previously trained by Charlie Appleby, and Buick actually rode him on his final start for Charlie Appleby when he was last seen for him in Maidan, and he ran well. He then changed hands afterwards, sent off at a big price for the Buckingham Palace Stakes though, and focusing in on a horse that ran well at Royal Ascot last time out was a positive that I was taking into this race. And he finished 8th, but he was, I mean, he was way out running his price anyway, but he was still 2nd of his group in that, and he's towards the far side, whereas the winner, Witch Hunter, and the 2nd, Croupier, race down the centre. So Silent Film, I thought, could be marked up for that, and is able to run off of a £1 lower mark here too. And the other one, who's not quite as easy to make a case for, but again has just been clipped in 16-1 to 14-1. Thought I might actually be getting a bigger price about him, to be completely honest with you. Intellogent, which might be a pun in itself then, but because he takes a bit more.
I said nothing.
I thought I'd give you the opportunity. You didn't quite bite then, but but yeah, he takes a bit more explaining, admittedly. But he's been given a real chance by the handicapper now. Mark of 100, yet to win in this country still. Isn't exactly straightforward. He gets warm beforehand. He's very often walked to the post, so I'm not going to be too perturbed by that, should that be the case again for him this time around. And he didn't get any sort of a run or any sort of a race last time out in the Royal Hunt Cup at Royal Ascot. But again, that race for me is the one to be focusing in on in the context of this contest. He's been given £4 back for that lackluster run, and he had the market supports around for him for that, which makes sense given how well he ran in the race last year to be second. And that's a form line I really want to focus in on. That season well treated here, conditions to suit, provided he still possesses the ability, which is the biggest question, being an 8-year-old now. So wouldn't want him to get much shorter than that. And he would just be one that I'd just still be keeping a little bit on side then. But 2 for the pair of us, two completely different horses for that Sandown contest. As we move on to Haydock for the Group 2, Lancashire Oaks for the 3-year-olds and over a mile for at 240. This race won by Free Wind somehow last year, of course, in that rugby match basically of a renewal. Same connections are represented this year by Mimikyu to build on her reappearance second from last time out. So Andrew, can she do that, or where are you looking?
Yeah, it's a funny one, Mimikyu, because she can race keenly, so you think, oh, she's going to need a big field or a strong pace. But when she does race in big fields, she tends to find trouble, and you look at comments like not clear runs, switched. And if you only consider her runs in fields of 9 or fewer runners, second by a neck, first, second by a short head. That was last time out at York, wearing a 3-to-1 favourite. For a Group 3 contest. Now, so she's obvious, but then she's priced accordingly. And there is an very interesting stat with this race. Going back 15 years, you look at horses who just ran into Group 1 or Group 2 last time out. Doesn't matter where they finished. 7 winners from 13 starts, profit of £40.50. There was one qualifier last year, Free Wind, of course, won. Before that, no qualifiers until 2018, when again, one qualifier, and that produced the sole winner, and again in 2017. So it's been a really strong stat to see horses dropping in class for this one. And there's only one qualifier this year, and it's Aristia for the Richard Hannon yard. The kind of horse that when you sort of first glance at this, you look at this race, you tend to look at the horses in form, the last time out winners, the Mimikyus of the world, the Sea Silk Roads, and then you think, well, this one was only 7th last time to Free Wind. So that was when racing freely on her reappearance in Group 2 company. And I think with that run behind her, on a track that should suit, she's yet to race here, but she's got plenty of form on sort of left-handed galloping tracks. She's a winner at Newbury, a winner at York. And I just thought, given how well horses dropping in grade have done in this contest, she might go under the radar a little bit and offer a bit of value around about 6-1. Yeah, I shall just go with the stats, go with Aristia.
Okay, Aristia, like you say, 6-1 is the best price that I can see about for her as well at the minute for Richard Hannon and Sean Levy. Now I have more fillies up next in the listed Coral Distaff for the 3-year-olds over a mile at 3 o'clock. Pretty wide open renewal, Andrew. So how are you playing it?
Yeah, some interesting stats again with this one, a bit like some of those big field handicaps at Sandown. Low draws haven't always done very well, and since they reversed the draw in 2011, we've had 11 runnings of this race. We didn't have one in 2020 because of COVID. And stalls 1 and 2, 0 from 22. Stalls 3 and 4, just 2 from 22. You back everything in stall 5 or higher. You'd have found 9 winners from the 11 runnings of the race. Profit of over 30 quid to a £1 stake. And last time out winners have done well also, 5 winners from 20 and a profit of £11.17. So I mean, at the moment the market's headed by Breege for the John Quinn yard, who ran so well in the Sandringham, finished second, but she was drawn on the right side that day. And the one I'm drawn to is Magical Sunset coming out of stall 9 now, because she also ran in the Sandringham, finishing 8th, but won the race on the far side, albeit finishing 8 lengths behind Coppice, the winner that day. She was a 25-to-1 shot, and ground wise she's a winner on good to firm, a winner on heavy. Probably could do with some cut ideally. It's a bit difficult to sort of putting up selections at the moment because we're doing this on Thursday afternoon. The Sandown go is good to soft. There's 27-degree temperatures forecast on Friday, and then maybe a bit of rain on Saturday morning, and possibly thunderstorms during racing. So you're just sort of guessing as to what's going to happen. And given, I mean, there could be watering before post time, or it could be cooled off because it's heavy. So it's. Sandown seems to be a bit like Haydock, and anything can happen going wise. But Magical Sunset certainly on the radar. And the other one was Carsavina, another one who ran in the Sandringham last time out, finishing 13th for Clive Cox. She was a big price that day, 40 to 1. But she ended up marooned down the centre of the track and sort of virtually racing alone in the closing stages. I think she started she tends to hang to the right in her races as well. She started live on the stand side, ended up down the middle, and we had nothing to race with late on. She's only ever raced on straight courses, and given that tendency to hang to the right in the races, it's just possible that going around a bend for the first time, particularly a right-handed one, could serve her well. And from stall 7 with Ross Orion up, Carsavina 33 to 1 could run some sort of race. Well, I'll go with the Sandringham form and look at split stake between Magical Sunset and Carsavina.
Okay, then looking at that form line, Magical Sunset 7 to 1, and as you say, about 33 to 1 for Carsavina. Well explained then for her as well, Clive Cox and Ross Ryan, but also again on the Richard Hannon bandwagon there for Magical Sunset. But yeah, as you say, I mean, we couldn't really have had more of a nightmare weather forecast with the nightmare track to be trying to assess what the going is for Sandown at present. I mean, it's proving a nightmare at the best of times for most tracks across the country, trying to predict what the clerks of the courses are going to do with it and exactly how accurate the descriptions are, let alone when we have this mix of a weather now put into it. At least at Royal Ascot, we just know it was just going to be a heat wave, but yeah, we are
it's like we've got Thursday night we've got good to soft watered at Newbury, and we very nearly had heavy watered at Nottingham the other week, but it was called off. Not an easy job being a clerk of the course, but there is if you look at the weather forecast, it says there's going to be 20 mil of rain, then perhaps don't water.
Like you say, I'm no expert at all, and I do not envy any clerks of a course because we only hear about them in the news when something's gone wrong. But yeah, with the extra bit of watering, it's never really ideal. But we'll wait to see, and we're just trying to play this by ear as we record, as you say, on Thursday afternoon. Now, we do have a right betting heat up next back at Haydock in the form of the Old Newton Cup handicap, 4-year-olds and over a mile 4 at 3.15. The market likes the look of the younger legs here. It's surrounding itself around the 4-year-olds, but it is 5 to 1 the field, Andrew. So who wins it?
Yeah, interesting you said that about the 4-year-olds, because I've looked at the last 10 years. 4-year-olds are just 3 wins from 77, minus £46 their £1 level stake. The expected winners was closer to 7. Favourites have got a poor record as well. Favourites or joint and co-favourites, 0 from 13 in the past 10 years. The 6-year-olds have actually done well, 5 from 23. And a profit of 54 quid. Now, one of those 5-year-olds is Garcia for William Haggart, who was favourite for this race last year. He went off at 11 to 8 in the field of 17, only finished 3rd. 1 or 2 people were a bit sniffy about the ride, saying he was given too much to do. He then started favourite for the E-ball based on that, but finished last of 20. Gelded since, hasn't done a great deal this year either. Last of 7 on his comeback, and then 11th of 17 last time out. Been a nibble again, so somebody somewhere seems to think that Garcia, now 14s from 20s, might run some sort of race, but it wouldn't be for me. Those nearer the head of the betting, Cumulo Nimbus. He won from the front over course and distance last time out, and is bidding for a hat trick. But if you look at that race, it was the typical Haydock, paid to be on the front end kind of race, and the winner made all, the runner-up was always prominent. Now the 3rd from that race, Pridwen, did best of those who came from off the pace. He's run a really good race next time, ran in a similarly valuable Class 2 handicapper Air. It was 12 to 1, and he got beaten ahead. So that makes the fourth from that race. One Smooth Operator for Brian Elson. Very interesting. You look at that last run, awkward start towards rear, outpaced, kept on well, went fourth, final stride. Now, it's the same trip, but a bigger field, hopefully a stronger pace, which you would expect. I think he's going to run a big race. He's yet to win on turf. Both his wins have come on Tapeta. But he's placed, I think, sort of on 3 occasions, or hit the frame in the first 4 on 3 occasions at big prices on turf. And I think he's going to have the race run to suit. So yeah, One Smooth Operator was my main play. Sheer Rocks is interesting, having won both starts since gelded. I was quite impressed with that win over Kai's Chorister at Epsom on Derby Day, because he was always prominent, and we saw pretty much every winner on Derby Day was coming from off the pace. It was really hard to win on the front end. Kai's Chorister disappointed since at Pontefract, but yeah, Sheer Rocks. Don't be surprised to see him complete the hat trick. And the other one, yes, Certain Lad, I was going to give a mention for. He's got a really good record in fields of 11 or fewer runners. There was a race for him at Sandown on Friday, which would have been perfect. I think there was only 10 or 11 declared at the 5-day stage. Well, actually, no, he's in that as well, I beg your pardon. Yeah, so he's, I'm not sure what the plan is, whether it'll be a late switch because of a going change. But yeah, even though there's a few more runners than ideal, Certain Lad off top weight could run a race if he runs here instead of Sandown. And finally, Dark Jedi tends to pop up at least once a year in sort of July, August. And he did catch the eye at Ripon a few runs back, finishing third from off the pace when you had to be on the front end. He's disappointed twice since, but he's just the kind of horse who could run well at a big price here if they go a decent gallop. So I'll go One Smooth Operator. But yeah, so Dark Jedi, Certain Lad, Sheer Rocks also on the radar.
I'm so happy you said about Certain Lad, and I just hope he runs here and not tomorrow, because like I say, he's got that double declaration now. So again, we're trying to play a lot of guessing games on this week's show with going and such like, but also where Jack Shannon's going to send Certain Lad. Holly Doyle is booked to ride tomorrow. George Bass then on Saturday, and I'm hoping he takes up this engagement, because that price of 33 to 1 was too big for me to avoid, given that he's the top weight then in this race. And I don't think that this is the strongest of renewals of this contest either. And like you were saying about the age angle there, going to older horses rather than the younger legs here as well was also the angle I was looking at, because I mean, initially I was looking to side with the 6-year-old, because this race is they've gone to horses of that age in 4 of the past 6 renewals, and the other 2 of which have been to 5-year-olds. Don't have any 6-year-olds, unfortunately, and the 5-year-olds in here have significant questions to have to answer, where admittedly Certain Lad does as well. He is now a 7-year-old himself, but remains lightly of race because he missed the whole of the 2021 season. Prior to that, he was a Group 3 winner in 2020. Only had the 4 starts in 2022. Already had the 3 runs this year. So hopefully all the wheels are staying on and in place and to have a good run at this campaign. And he was sent straight into a listed race on his reappearance, where he wasn't disgraced. Much happier, though, in handicap company on his penultimate outing off of a £2 higher mark at Chester when finishing third. Well, he was badly hampered, and he was a big price anyway at Royal Ascot last time out in the Wolferton Stakes. So down in weights, found a weaker renewal of the Old Newton Cup to be taking advantage of. Just hopefully gets a run here and not tomorrow for Certain Lad.
Well, I'm just looking at that 4:15 Friday race, Sandown, thinking he's up against Supervillain Saga, who's the 5-4 favourite. Whoever's that priced that up can't have seen Saga run a race before, so they're habitual twicer. So yeah, I'm just about to nip on and take the 11-2. So.
Yeah, I was going to say he's 11-2 for that race. Like I say, there's 3 ahead of him in the betting for that, so they'll probably go to Sandown instead with him. But anyway, I'll put him up as an honourable mention at a 33 to 1 price should he switch out, like say, because of going change, and head up to Haydock instead. Now we are on to our final scheduled race, and we sign off with the big one. It is the Group 1 Coral Eclipse for the 3-year-olds and over at a mile 3 at 3:40 at Sandown. We have the battle between Paddington and Emily Upjohn, because of course we did have Anmar as a late defection from the race because of a bruised foot, but Frankie Dettori evidently banned. William Buick takes the ride on Emily Upjohn as a result. Do have Dubai Honor in here and West Wind Blows as well, but only 4 runners going to post. Paddington heads away as the 6-5 market leader, 5-4 about Emily Upjohn. So Andrew, how are you playing the Coral Eclipse?
Yeah, when I first looked at this race on Monday, I was like, there, not particularly interested. Don't want to have a bet on the race. But it is fascinating the more you look at it, and because you've got Paddington, everyone assumes he's going to make the running because he's the one who tends to be ridden forward in his races compared to the rest of them. But he is up in trip, isn't he, from a mile to 10 furlongs? So will they want to change the tactics? Will they just, when you'd hope they'd just think, right, let's assume he stays and make the running. I mean, I thought, like most horses at that Irish 1,000 and 2,000 guineas 2-day meeting at the Curragh in late May, that having won from the front, he might have been flattered. We've seen lots of horses who made the running that day come out and get beaten since, but he bolted up from Chaldean, the 2,000 guineas winner at Royal Ascot, and he not exactly an out-and-out front runner, but he does tend to sort of press the pace, or at least sit just in behind it. You look at the rest of them, you think, well, who's going to make it? Surely Paddington's going to get loose on the lead. He's ridden by the best jockey in the world, pretty much, Ryan Moore, and he might be very hard to pass. Now, Dubai Honour was interesting if the ground was going to be on the soft side. He's been globe trotting. Was it 1.7 million quid or something he won for that Group 1 win down under Ryan Moore? Sorry, I know it was Tom Marquand 2 runs back. He'd won for Ryan Moore the time before that. But again, he does tend to come from off the pace. Did so when third in Hong Kong last time out. You do worry if the ground dries out, and if they go steady, that he's not going to quite suit him. Emily Upjohn. I don't know, sort of coming back in trip and taking. I know she didn't. It wasn't against her own sex last time out, but everything went right at Epsom, didn't it? You had to come wide down the middle of the track, and got the perfect ride. Whereas the runner-up in the third didn't. They were on the wrong part of the track, perhaps. Was she a shade flattered? Do you want to back her at 5-4? Not really. The other one I was looking at was West Wind Blows, who, if you just the outside of the field, 25-1 or thereabouts. You just look at this one's form below a mile and a half, mile 2 or a mile 3, 6 runs, 5 wins in the third, and a runner-up effort at Royal Ascot last time out. So the way I'd be looking at this, I'd be thinking Paddington's going to win, making all, and West Wind Blows is going to be given a Spencer's special and come through and sneak second, and that will be my tote exactor or computer straight forecast. That's the way I'm looking to play the race. But yeah, I'm having had a downer on the race on Monday. I'm now very much looking forward to this.
Yeah, it is. Like I say, from a tactical perspective, it's fascinating, because that's why I was really wondering about West Wind Blows, exactly how James Spencer's going to ride him, because I mean, obviously he knows this horse well, and whether or not he's going to stalk in the forerunners or tactically they're going to try and mix it up. But 28-1, the clear outsider of the forerunner field, Paddington, then to beat West Wind Blows, is the way you'll be playing it. I mean, Emily Upjohn, I would love to see her win this, because she's in my top 10 to follow, and she got me off to a flyer on the first day of the competition then. So she's still in my stable. So, of course, I'd love her to pick me up some more bonus points, but we will see. She is currently a 5-4 shot. I don't want to have an opinion in the race just yet, because I don't know what to do. But that is everything from us from the scheduled races, Andrew. So do you have anything from anywhere else?
Yeah, I got a few bits and pieces elsewhere. At Beverley in the 325. Are we nearly there, Dad? This is a horse I wrote up in, I think, pretty much every publication I write for when he was running in novice and maiden company. Caught the eye under tender handling from off the pace, and then was ridden to prominently when you didn't want to be prominently. I think just to get that handicap mark. First time in a handicap. 9s into 100 to 30 at Wetherby. I thought, here we go, and then missed the brakes, stumbled, never got into contention. One or two people perhaps thought maybe connections hadn't got on, and that was the reason why he was left with too much to do. But I'm sure that's just them being cynical. I wouldn't subscribe to such theories. And then not
at this current climate. In this current climate,
absolutely. And I'll put him up my column next time he's won. He then followed that up with another win at Doncaster, and I just think there's loads and loads to come from this horse. And as he goes up in trip, I think he'll improve as well. But yeah, I think Are We Nearly There, Dad, is very progressive ahead of the handicapper, and should win that 325 at Beverley with a little luck. And Leicester, there's a couple I was half interested in, both drawn lowish on the straight course, which is generally where you want to be. In the cellar, believe it or not, the 255. Those that are run look sort of pretty moderate, as you'd expect in this grade. But Adrian Nichols has got a good record in cellars. You back his horses blind in these races, you make a profit. He won this race 2 years ago. He's got one called US Navy Flag. I think it was a breeze up purchase, so we'll hopefully know his job before his debut, coming out of stall 4. And the 442 Dashing Dick, who tends to go from the front, and a little bit disappointing in terms of strike rate. I think it's sort of 2 wins from 33 starts, 10 seconds, but will give you a good run for your money, blasting off in the first time blinkers from stall 1, and probably an each way bet.
Okay, then, yes, quite a selection of names there. How often on a weekly basis do you hear the phrase "Are we nearly there, Dad"? Would you say?
Yeah, once or twice, and believe it or not, sort of occasionally driving up the mile back from nursery when it's chucking down with rain.
I swear it's only a few more seconds. I swear. Yeah, I thought that might just be like going around your head when you're kind of sleeping at night, just having that reiterating. Now it's gone into the horse version. But 3 extra bets then from me from elsewhere. Now I have bought you some time because you know what's coming up. We haven't got Daryl to buy you any more time, Andrew. So I would like your nap, please.
Yeah, I won't procrastinate even longer than Daryl's acceptance speech ahead of last week's pocket. I'm going to go. Are we nearly there, Dad? He won over course of distance, 5 furlongs at Beverley. Then he won over 6 at Doncaster. I'm not too worried about the step back to 5 furlongs on this stiff track. And even though I think he'll stay further than 6 in time, I'll go for Are we nearly there, Dad, to complete the hat trick.
Okay, to complete the hat trick, then, like it a lot. And I say that, and I'm having a laugh at you there, but I also have no idea what I'm going to nap. So, I mean, everything I've put up today has been big prices because I thought I was so sure I was going to come down to something definitely in the Coral Eclipse, but haven't as of yet. So I'm going to go Silent Film, now 12 to 1. Has been clipped in again there in the 225, the Coral Challenge handicap at Sandown, because my other strong opinion may not even run. But yeah, that is everything from us then on this week's show. Big thank you to Andrew for all of your hard work as per usual. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. We'll be back with you again next week.